Welcome back to the channel, Fixing Up the Commonwealth, back at Sunshine Tidings. Let's get building. So welcome back to Fixing Up the Commonwealth. Thank you so much for all the response to the first video. I loved reading all your comments and thank you for taking so much time to think about what we can do here at Sunshine Tidings. As you can see, one of the green huts is now gone based on your comments. Thanks so much. And we put a foundation down which is about 3 by about 4, 3.5 to 4. And we're going to build a little farmhouse. So we have the inspiration here was there's a barn to my left there, and I thought, given it's kind of country type area, there's a barn already there, I'm going to build a little farmhouse here. So I'll show you quickly the inspiration for this before we get started. So I've been on Pinterest a bit lately, and I found this little picture of a kind of abandoned farmhouse, house, whatever you want to do. So that's going to be the inspiration and the direction for our build today. And I'm not going to duplicate that absolutely. I'm going to take some elements and implement them. So be warned, a lot of this is sped up today because it's very repetitive stuff, like putting walls in and stuff like that. So I've sped it up to save some time. This video, this whole build, took me probably about an hour to do one house. But a lot of it was to do with getting used to some of the materials. I'm using snappy house kits here. Here we go, we're on steroids now. We're using snappy house kits and some of the new kind of parts that I've used sort of before. So a lot of the time was consumed with really learning and troubleshooting things. So I'm sure if I was to build it again, I could do it in a much shorter time frame. So you can see we're speeding it up. One of the big things that I found about this, these walls are good. I'll put this one in here, this fancy Nancy thing, which seems to suit it. These walls are good with the wallpaper on them. The only problem is, for some reason, matching them up to look all the same just became quite a bit of a nightmare in certain parts that just I needed and I couldn't find. So maybe I'm just not familiar enough with the mod, I don't know, but it's I get there in the end, but it did take some time just to find the right pieces. And one of the things that I didn't like is they just weren't in the right place for me. They weren't all together for some reason. And you can see that's a different wallpaper, so I have to fix that. So let's get the floors in. That's the first level done. We'll get the floors in, and it's a pretty straightforward build. Like I said, there are a few complications in that I do a custom roof. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know that me and roofs don't really get on well. We have a bit of a history, so I have to do a custom roof on this because I did play around with a lot of different roofs from snappy house kits, and nothing really worked for what I was going for. So I end up, you'll see in a bit, end up having to do a custom roof. So let's get the stairs in now. They're tracking pretty well, despite what I've just all said. But some parts of snappy house kits I'm pretty familiar with. These stairs I use quite a lot. Now the key is get the walls in first and then put the stairs in. Again, we're up on the first level already, second level already, sorry. Like I said, thanks a lot for the response to this build and this kind of concept. Now don't do what I'm about to do because you can't get down the stairs. And I'm going to put a quarter in there, quarter filler in there. In the end I don't need it because I put a railing in here anyway. So thanks for the response to the first build. It really astounded me how many views we got and how much people kind of enjoyed the concept. I made the decision on this greenhouse that we're building to get rid of it and building in this area now. The shopping centre, I've got a number of comments, so thank you for that. But the comments that you gave me, so we look as if by magic all the walls appear. The comments that you gave me were pretty 50-50 on what we should do on that. So I have done a little bit of fixing up, which I'll probably show you in the next video. I'm still uncertain about that shopping centre area. So I'm going to leave it for now. So Snappy Heskets, you can see there's some gaps in the corners there. Snappy Heskets comes with these, I don't know what you would call them. I suppose when I find them I can be able to tell you, but they're like corner end caps. That's what I was looking for. Corner gap. Okay, there we go. And they just snap in there, and they make that gap all sealed up. Now, I've cut out the bit where I struggled, and some of the lines, the walls weren't snapping into that end cap properly. But it's just a case of persisting and pushing walls in and snapping in the right place. Now, I'm looking for a certain roof for the veranda. You can use whatever you like. Just make sure that you use the roof with the one end closed, one end open. And we're in the barn tab now for this roof. You're going to have to glitch the first one in if you decide to go this way. So you're going to have to find a tool that allows you to glitch it in, and that roof isn't quite where I'd like it to be, because this won't snap. You'll see in a second. It's not going to snap, so because that won't snap, I know that this needs to be repositioned. And it's only a fraction, but it's enough to stop that from snapping. There we go. We'll snap the second one in like that, and now we have our veranda roof, and it gives quite a different look. I actually like this a lot for a porch veranda roof. Pretty simple stuff. After this, we'll just snap the posts in. There you go. There we go. And you know what, this house actually looks really, really nice at the end. One of the big dramas I do have is that the barn off to the left there, when I stood back after I built this whole area, and I stood back and looked at it, the barn was on an angle, so I ended up having to move that barn completely and redo it, which, although it sounds easy, boy, it was a bit of a nightmare. I probably had to redo it about 4 times. So I'm having to glitch the first of these roofs in. As I said, this is a custom roof, so you're really flying by the seat of your pants when you're doing this kind of stuff. It does work out in the end, but it does take me a bit of head scratching and figuring out, and I'm not going to show you all, because like I said, the video would take over an hour. So I put the first one in, and I realised for some reason that this is wider than I anticipated it to be. So the idea I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of those in the middle, and then another roof on the right hand side, and that does take a bit of figuring out. So I'm going to snap one of these little archways in, wall arches. I need the other side. Yep. Snap that in there. And initially, to fill that gap, my idea was to use that plus the half walls to fill that gap. Now, you'll see in a second, it doesn't quite work out as I anticipated. So we do get there though. We just improvise a little bit. So you can see that looks all right there, but it's off center. See how that's the overhang? There's an overhang there. So plan B was to just shift that across a little bit, so it's flush with that wall edge, like that. And then I'll fill in that gap somehow later on. I'll figure that out. So I'll get rid of that roof and bring that one in much the same. So we now have a little bit of a gap there, but it's not too much of a drama. We do end up figuring out how to fill that in. But just make sure that if you're going to build something like this, just make sure that you spend the time to get these even. So we'll do the anti-shimmer for both of those. Sometimes when you do the anti-shimmer, it goes back to the original position, so sometimes leaving it a little bit can fix that. So okay, so we should be able now to get the roof in. Just having a good look at that. That one to the right looks as though it will need a little bit of adjusting. And again, when you're doing custom roofs and custom parts of the build like this, and I can see it now, yep, just needs to be nudged a fraction. You're going to run across these kind of problems. So there we go. put those roofs that I was talking about before in. I'm going to go with that one because it's kind of faded. And again, the thing I realise I have to do, I have to get up on the roof in the end, but just get them into position roughly, and then you can manipulate them beyond that. That other one, see, nothing will snap because we're doing custom, so it takes a little bit longer. And we're going to put a roof going the other way, if you remember the photo. Now, these ones with the open ends should clip into there, and again, that tells me that that roof, there's something wrong with the original roof that I snapped in. So, just patience. I have to just see, I glitched that in, but what I've realised now is that, see, that there's something not quite right with that, so we've got to reposition it just slightly. There we go, that clips in. Oh, that clip in there. No, it's still not right. So, takes a bit of time. I can see that I'm going to have an issue at this end. See, that'll clip in there, and I'm going to have to reposition it. So I'm going to have to get up on the roof and reposition these. And it's good to be up here because you can line them all up like that. Now, what I end up doing is I end up resizing these roof pieces a little bit. Because the gap is not too bad. I need it to come to the end of this. I need it to come to the end of there, and it's okay on the other side. So, just like that. So what I end up doing, I have a light bulb moment and go, you know what? If I resize those roof pieces, they will fit perfectly, and that's exactly what I end up doing. Not sure if I show you it here or not. You can see I've sped this part up a fair bit. I'm just checking that. Yep, that's fine. Still probably hanging over a little bit too far, but it's okay for now. And what I was going to do, these are quite nice. These roofs, they're pretty soft, so they will actually clip into each other. What I was originally planning to do, not apart from not falling off ladders, was to put that in the middle. And then it suddenly occurred to me, if I rescale these, they might fit perfectly, and that's exactly what happens. See, like that, jump down. Always check when you're doing this. And it's quite a laborious process, but it's worth doing because the finished product looks great. Okay. And what I end up doing here is I do a very similar thing down here, is I just rescale a couple of these roofs a little bit to get them to fit. So I left that in. I thought it was probably a little bit more interesting for you to see, as opposed to just putting walls up. See, that's annoying me. You can see that's on an angle, that barn. I have to actually shift that round, and you'll see that in a little while, that becomes square to in comparison to the farmhouse. So obviously I've put a custom roof in. I have a bit of a gap there. I've got to now solve that area, so I'm just doing the anti-shimmer trick here just to get this all kind of fixed up. That roof's a little bit bigger in front of us compared to the one on the left, but you can't really see it, you don't really notice it, so it's not such a drama. So okay, so let's try and figure it out. So this is where I start with these pieces. This really doesn't work because of the overhang. So a lot of the time when you're trying to figure out these kind of issues, keeping it simple, there's a lot to be said for keeping it simple. So that piece is just a fraction too big. So what I do is I use Place Anywhere to rescale this. You could actually just put it in there if you wanted. I decided to just make it a little bit smaller. If you haven't checked out my review on Place Anywhere, I'll put up on the channel this week. I'll leave a link so you can have a look at that. It's a great little tool. So we'll put that in there, and I think you can see what the rest of the solution is. It is pretty simple. We'll put those in there, and we're just going to so that'll clip in there. And again, because it's on the roof and it's a little bit out of the way, you're not going to really see too much of this. So it's not a major drama. And I'm going to put a roof in anyway, so a ceiling in anyway. So you're actually not going to see any of this in the end. So similarly on the other side, we just get this little half piece, scale it down using Place Anywhere and drop it in. Now this one fights me a little bit more, so I end up having to switch off global collision and snapping, and you'll see why in a sec. See, it wants to snap to the outside all the time. It's perfect size, but it just wants to snap to the outside. And I think putting the one with a little window in as well, it just gives it a nice look from the outside. So I'll try switching off global collision to start with. And realise, yeah, I've got to switch off snapping as well. So sometimes I don't like switching everything off if I don't have to. That's why I'm being a little bit persistent on this. But I should, you know, after a while you start to figure out that, yeah, that's not going to go in there. I'm going to have to switch off snapping. Now, if you have seen my mod review on Place Anywhere, you'll know that my advice is once you've finished what you're doing, make sure you put snapping straight back on. Otherwise it'll catch you out. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So we're making good progress on the house. Now you can see the barn squared up now. Look at that. It's not on an angle. So like I said, it was a nightmare to get that right, but I think it definitely helps. So now I'm going to put some walls in, and then we'll do the final tour. And the walls, I was going to put walls in with wallpaper on. I go for these walls here, just very kind of simple. I was going to put some, like I said, I was going to put some wallpaper. Snappy House Kits comes with wallpaper. When I did that, what I found was that I got a huge frame rate drop, so I actually had to redo it and take the wallpaper out now. For some reason, the way that they've configured the wallpaper in this game, putting it on is not too bad. Taking it off is an absolute nightmare. So, because I don't know what is going on with it, but you just can't grab it, especially the wallpaper that goes across the doors there. I just find that I have troubles grabbing it. So it's pretty simple. We'll make a couple of bedrooms up here. See, these ones have got things on them. This actually has a clock on it, which is pretty neat. And there we go, we've got the rooms configured just like that. There we go. Having a good look around at my handiwork, I think. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out what the configuration should be in these rooms. I think that's the one I end up going with. So here we go, here's the final walkthrough. I've done a little bit decorating, I still have a fair bit. You can see the veranda has now got a little bit of a railing system around it. A couple of seats out there. The door needs to go the other way, but that's okay. I've put a kitchen downstairs, we'll see that in a second. Little lounge room. Again, like I said, I've got a little bit of decorating. Little office in there. Kitchen is looking schmick, I like it. Got a nice outlook to the Raiders up on the freeway there. And I used a lot of creative clutter things in this in the decoration just to save time. A couple of bedrooms up here. Bedroom number 1. And again, a lot of this is creative clutter. Got a little seating area in there. Close the door on that one. And bedroom number 2 has a couple of, so we've got that bed there, which is a different colour to the other room. And we've got bunk beds there too. A rather snazzy rug. So, looking good. I think this has turned out really, really well. I think it looks really nice. It fits the area perfectly. To jump over dog meat because he's in the way. By the way, I've got Kate with me. Kate gets bored. And there you go. On to the next question, and I'll just bring up a little graphic with the question and our work for next week. So I've taken that second greenhouse out. So what should we build in the gap next to the farmhouse? And I'll show you the gap I'm meaning. The one right there with that front of the red truck there. You've done such a good job for me on the first video. Let me know. I'm trying to get up the ramp here. I'm trying to go backwards. Let me know. Leave me some comments down below and give me your suggestions. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. We're making progress. Catch you next time.